women, hey, you don't need a man, they're going home to their husbands.
And
And
for
this is how I
example-
know. This is how I know
Respectfully.
black women have been finessed with feminism, because the feminists are married to their white husbands, while black women think they don't need a husband.
True.
So that's what I'm talking about.
No, you're
And then
right.
some-
I'm looking at the
I agree with that
marriage rate.
100%.
I
I
don't
can
care
give you
about
that.
anything
Yeah,
else.
I can
That's
give
not the
you
part
that.
I'm arguing.
I can
I'm
give
just
him that.
saying you can't paint all black women in
I'm
that
not
way.
saying.
You
I'm
did
not
say
saying
all, bro.
No,
You
I
did-
said the most.
you
I
said
said
all.
most
Go
of the
back
black
to
women.
this clip and you said all.
I gotta look at the clip, bro.
Yeah, you said all.
He did, but he cleaned it up because he realized he made a mistake. But let's keep going. Well,
I don't think he said all, but I think.
I didn't say
But
all, bro.
but I know he's speaking on majority.
The
now.
majority.
I
That's
agree,
what I'm talking about.
But he's
like,
saying he also saying, have you ever heard an Asian or a white woman say some of this crazy shit? And I know we've seen it on social media
I
where
have
white.
not seen it.
You've
I'm not
never
gonna
seen
cap-
it?
I'm not
I've
gonna
never
lie
seen that
here and
shit,
say
bro.
I've
Okay.
seen it.
Honestly,
Have you seen
there
it in
are
bulk?
other races.
No, it went from have you seen it to have you seen it in
Yeah,
bulk.
and when I
You're
first
moving
asked
the
you, you said
goalposts.
I don't listen. I don't know. I don't know Asian women.
I don't know them, but have I seen
So
it on
then how you
Instagram?
capping?
Yes. I'm not capping.
He's
I've
saying
seen
he
it.
doesn't
Yeah.
personally know them as people
That's
like
not
that's
cap.
around him, but he's seen it.
Seen
Like
it.
those
Yeah,
social
we
media
all
takes
seen
one
women
scroll
say crazy
and a video
shit.
pops up, and then now.
Okay. They're still in the same argument. It hasn't gone anywhere. I think we've heard enough. Mike here with Money, Marriage, and Media. Today we are looking at Daily Wrap-Up Crew. Before we get started, though, remember, channel membership is open. Reasons to join. Exclusive content. This is the only way you're going to see it is joining the membership, right? Also, make sure you guys are paying attention to the live stream. I'm going live at least once a week. So tune in for that, right? But let's go ahead and get started and see what we got.
Topic, right? Would you rather be happily married or rich and single?
Translation: are you a soldier in the gender war? And for those of you that are new here, what that means is that you've been raised not to trust the opposite gender. So you would value money over marriage and family. Deep stuff, right?
I feel like, don't judge me, y'all. I say rich and single because at the end of the day, once I'm rich and single, the marriage gonna come one day. Y'all can't tell me it won't. It's gonna come
That's a fact.
because somebody gonna want to
That's a
marry me.
fact.
Y'all see the look on their faces, and then you just let out a laugh. That's how men view that. Because for you few ladies, we've had a lot of ladies join the channel too, and thank you guys for subscribing. But so many of our women have been raised with no knowledge of the male experience, and what I'm going to tell you firsthand is that men don't care about your money. Marriage-minded men don't care about your money. Let me rephrase that. Do we want you to be broke? No. But we want you to be able to take care of yourself, which most women can to some degree, right? Depending on where you live at. On this channel, I like to discuss incomes from a realistic standpoint, meaning that what I encourage everyone to do is always go look up what the average income is in your state, because a lot of times you're going to be surprised by it. Often it's lower than what you think it is. But the point here is that, yes, we expect you, men are looking for you to have a full-time job and to be able to take care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, there better be some extenuating circumstances. And I'm talking about majority of the time, we're not trying to hear it, but there are exceptions though. And it's usually on a case-by-case basis. But let's keep going.
Don't you think?
Somebody gonna want to marry me because I'm rich and I'm single. Like what? And
No.
if you have that personality, if you have a vibe like me, I feel like I provide. Then I'm gonna be married one
You
day.
over here huffing and puffing.
The reason, let me go ahead and
What
Who
do
gonna
you
tell
gotta
her?
say?
Nigga sound like the big bad wolf. Like, you know what I'm saying?
This whole time.
Because
What's up?
So you want to be
It's
happy to be
giving
married?
it's cap, bro. Because
What?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you rich and single, right, that means you've elevated yourself to a status, right? As a woman, you dating anybody under that status?
Nope.
So what percentage of men are you going for?
Like how Kim went for Kanye.
Okay, I get what he's saying, but it's not really. That's not how I would have approached that topic, because they're just going to argue that he's out there, and what really needs to happen is that you've got to break down what it is. You got to break down the attraction triggers for both men and women, and they're different. But again, a lot of ladies, particularly in our community, are, like I said at the beginning, they're raised to be soldiers in the gender war. They're hyper concerned about providing for themselves to the point where it can go overboard, right? And look, there's nothing wrong if you want to be a career woman. Just understand what comes with that, okay? So if you want to be a career woman, you still want marriage and family, then chances are you're probably going to be the breadwinner. And you have to be okay with that, because otherwise it's not going to work. So, because so many career women say that, well, I want a man on my level. But if you're out earning the vast majority of men, then congratulations. You just eliminated the vast majority of them. And the ones who are left, you now have to qualify for them. But the problem is that men don't care about your income so long as you can take care of yourself. Remember I said that before. So now you have you have like 80% of women to compete with in areas where a lot of times, because you've been focused on your career, the things that those men care about, they're usually lacking. And it's a harsh thing to say, but that's the truth of the matter. See, again, a man very rarely cares about your career. Why is that? Because most women still want the man to be the breadwinner. So again, who's paying for all these dates that were going on? The guy. So why is he going to care about how much you make in your career? He's still expected to pay for everything. Well, he's still expected to pay for all the dates and the time that he's getting to know you, as he should. But that's also why we just don't care. So you're not an asset to us because you're not giving us your resources. So that's why we don't care. It's like it doesn't do anything for us. It's great that you can do that stuff, but again, how does it benefit to us? Most times it's not.
Yeah.
8% of men, 10% maybe.
But
In the US. And then we not talking about race. You dating outside your race?
No,
Okay, so now we talking about 2%. All right, so
No,
okay,
but
all
don't
right,
do
now
that
you-
because I feel like when it's time for me to be happily married or like rich and single, whichever one I choose, there's gonna be a bigger percentage of men because black men specifically, are grinding and they doing a big one and they gonna be up there.
No. See, this woman, again, no knowledge of the male experience. She also has no knowledge of the upper class lifestyle that she speaks of. Because men are grinding and they're just going to get there. No, that's not how that works. Unfortunately, what most people don't realize, women in particular, is that the men that she's talking about, the vast majority of them that make that kind of money, they're already married. They got married younger and then they built with their wives. That's one of the reasons why they were able to attain so much success, is because it was literally two people working together to figure it out instead of just one person who's ultra successful, which that can happen, but that's even rarer. So, when you meet these guys on that level and they're single, that's ultra rare. Most cases, most women will never meet that man. So, probability is a real thing. It's like, how can you expect to marry this guy when chances are you're probably never going to come in contact with him to begin with?
I got
And
faith in
I think this is what women get wrong every time. Y'all think that men are attracted to women with money, and
Right, they
that
don't
is
like-
so far from the truth.
No,
and y'all
but-
want to force that onto men when historically men have never cared about how much a woman's earning potential.
No, I
Maybe
get
you
that,
don't,
not
but there
to
are men
force
that
it.
do. There's
Not
the
enough-
men of
there's
this
not enough.
generation. A lot of them do care about
not the men that you want.
though.
Not the
No, they care about whether or not you can support yourself. You being rich has no, again, how does that value the guy? That question has no answer to it, because it doesn't. Unless you're willing, again, the only time it's valuable to the guy is when you're willing to be the breadwinner. But that kind of relationship comes with totally different dynamics in there. And I don't advise, that's a tough relationship to have. It makes sense in marriage. It doesn't make sense in dating. So, you're going to have to, that's also why I'm an advocate for getting married sooner in life than later, because a lot of those nuances get worked out. For you ladies out there, you're older and you're career driven. You know what? The best advice I can give you is going to come at the end of this video.
I personally don't feel like they care, but honestly, I don't care if they care because I got money. Like, I don't know. Me personally, I got money. If I'm living,
so the men,
I'm going to meet many, many, many men.
That's a
like
fact.
50 Cent.
Translation: I trust having money more than I trust men. Or could be that men are only worth being a wallet. And if I can go out here and earn enough money, then I don't need them anymore. Again, soldier in the gender war. I was raised not to trust the men around me, in my family, out in the neighborhood, wherever. So I'm going to work my darndest, or I'm going to work my butt off to make sure that I don't need them.
Oh man, that don't sound good.
Not like that. Not like I'm gonna fuck many men, but like you're gonna come across many people in your caliber and whatever you're doing, where you're at. It's a lot of networking.
But look, and you're gonna be just like Kim. You use that as an example, and I don't think she's happy.
Because Kanye went crazy.
But and not just Kanye
Nah,
West.
he ain't went crazy.
Hold on. But it wasn't just Kanye. It was Chris Humphries, Jack Snowman, Roger, Homer. She had a lot of marriages that didn't work.
I feel like it has to do with your personality. Everything plays a part. Everything plays a part in a relationship.
You just said that you want the 10% of men, but then the black men and the 10% of men, which is like 0.5% of men. That's like 20 men.
How do you know that those 20 men are not gonna fit the placement of me? You don't know who is who. You don't know. I just feel like
again, this is a dream crushing conversation. She hasn't put any thought into this. That's why she's like defending this to the end, even though statistically it makes no sense. It's 20 guys across. He just said it's 20 guys across the whole United States. Are you gonna go to every state, every major city in the U.S. looking for this one guy? And then you gotta hope that he is actually marriage minded and wants to get married. It's not realistic. It's also not 20. Let's just be realistic here. But the point is still valid, though. Again, most women are never going to meet this man. It's just not enough of them to go around. So,
and instead of working off of probabilities, we working off of hopes and prayers. Like we
and you should work off of hopes and prayers, because why are you fiending to fit in that probability? I don't care about the probability.
Life don't work off of hopes and prayers.
Get your money and live your life.
No, it doesn't. And Eli is right. But again, she's just defending it because she never thought about it before. But it's always been, what they did was they pulled back the curtain on the magic trick and exposed her to reality that she's been living. And they basically just told her that you have this dream that's not reality. And you pull back the curtain and say, this is reality. You need to face it. It can be a jarring conversation to have, again, because we don't talk about these things. This is why the way we raise, if you've been tuning in, you know what I'm about to say. But for those of you who are new here, all these relationship topics boil down to just four things. The way we raise our kids, the vetting process is broken, our concept of marriage needs to be updated, and finances. The first three are intertwined; they're linked together, and then the last one is really, it's not worth talking about that much if you still having issues with the first three. But this is a prime example of the way we raise our kids. We've got to do a better job, because again, she has no knowledge of the male experience, and I'm almost willing to bet that she comes from a single mother household, because she has no idea what men are looking for. She's just going off, well, I want this, so men must want it too. And then there was a couple times where she was trying to interject when Eli was trying to correct her about how men think. And she's going to tell Eli, men, it's like, you got a group of men who are telling you how men think. And you're sitting there trying to say no, but again, it's no knowledge. That's all it is.
You got a man right now?
If you pray,
you got a man right now?
I do, and I feel like if you pray properly and you guide yourself in the right direction, you'll be fine no matter what. He got you. God got you.
Okay, he in the top 10%?
Probably not right now, but he will be.
Oh, okay.
We hope so.
And
now, this woman, she has a significant other. I'm actually feeling sorry for this brother because she just said she'd rather be rich than marry you. Like, this is straight disrespectful. Wow.
What it is? Yeah, y'all both said y'all rather be rich and single than married and happy. And this is
because happy and married don't get you nowhere.
Let me land this.
Okay, I'll let you land.
This is one of the biggest gripes I have with the women, especially in my community, is because I'm a man and I value over being rich. I value family and marriage. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And again, when I'm looking to my counterparts and they're telling me I would rather be rich and single over a happy family and marriage, that to me is absurd. And so this is why some black men, I'm not going to say all, when y'all see them date outside their race and y'all are confused as to why this is happening, and y'all are sitting there telling black men that I would rather be rich and single over a happy family and marriage, then there's a discrepancy.
Let me put my cup down. Can I say something real quick? All right,
I got you. I got you.
Black men, white men, any race men are not happy and broke. Men are never happy when they're broke. So you're not going to be happily married and broke. You're not going to be happily married with no money.
Anything about broke.
Okay, so if we happily married with money, then I'll be fine.
I only gave two options.
We
happily married and rich and single. We never said happily married and broke. Like, I don't know why
you blame her for thinking like that, though, because that's like the men of this generation. That's just how they make you feel. Like,
and honestly, men are never happy when they're broke. Men are not happy. They will treat you. They will have an attitude. They'll treat you like shit when they're broke. They're angry with everybody. Because I just felt like, okay, with the what is it? The ultimatum that you just gave, right?
Would you rather be happily
married or rich and single? I'll take that, y'all. I automatically assumed. Like, I assumed. But I assumed that because you said rich and single, and then you said happily married, and I assumed you're not rich because you ain't put the rich part.
Let me just
you ain't got to be rich to be.
Let me just tell you now, if you happily married.
See, again, is the whole idea of the concept of marriage is broken in our community. I know we know what it is. But there are not, a lot of times we automatically come into the conversation and viewing it as a negative. When the reality is that this country was built on the back of nuclear families. So, you know what? Let's just keep going. I've been talking this whole time.
Not broke, because women is not gonna be in a broke marriage and be happy. So you're not broke. But I ain't saying you're rich neither.
Right.
You could be average
and working that out,
and be happy.
Okay,
right? But you chose rich and single.
Yeah, honestly. Well, with my man right now, I would happily marry you, but I just feel like rich and single. If I didn't have a man and I wouldn't want it to be rich and single, I'll be rich and single. It is what it is. Men are really funny to come by.
I think we're losing the most important part, because when you say happily married, the most important thing, that money can come and go, but to have a life where you have a partner to do something with, whether y'all rich, poor, I've seen people that have less money than me and my woman, and they have great relationship. I've seen people that's more successful. So I don't think money really equates to happiness in a relationship. It's an important factor.
No, for real. But it doesn't make you happy.
Yeah, it doesn't make you happy. Yeah.
It's about you being when you rich and single, it's about you being happy with yourself. If you're not happy with yourself, with the money, then you're not gonna be happy.
So a lot of women that got some money and they lonely
so
with
you
that
think
vibrator.
you can be happy by yourself?
Yeah.
With the family that I have and the people around me.
You don't need no man.
No.
Not that I don't need a man, but it will come. I just feel like it will come.
And that's another issue. No. It's just so many issues, man.
And why
it's only again, it's only our women who feel so adamant and proud to tell the world. You on a podcast with hundreds of thousands of subscribers as a black woman. You're sitting there and telling the world, all men, ethnic groups included, that you would rather be. You don't need no man. Like, you get what I'm saying? So
I didn't say I don't need a man.
She said that.
Oh, okay.
She said that.
So again, I got respect for
again, soldiers in the gender war. The reality is we need each other. Okay? Women need men need women. This whole idea about I'm gonna just be fine by myself, that's not realistic. You're not gonna be fine. even from a basic financial standpoint, you're definitely not going to be fine, because the average woman does not make enough money to make it to the end of life through retirement. We know that because even though the average man makes more, he doesn't make enough. You need to combine your incomes, right, and move as a unit. This stuff about, oh, I'm single, so I'll just be fine. No, you won't. The average woman does not make enough money to do that. So what? Well, let's keep going. I was gonna pull up some numbers, but we don't need to see them.
You basically said that though.
Myself. I didn't do nothing. Everything I got right now, I ain't get with no man. I got it myself. Okay. If a man
imagine if men thought like that.
Wait, if a man adds to that, I appreciate it, I respect it, and I give you your props. Just like if I was to add on to whatever you have. But do I feel like I need anybody? No. Only person I need is my child and God, respectfully. Like, that's just where I'm at.
And as a man, I find that as a flaw in women, because no matter what I've built.
So again, this is someone who hasn't really, that she's refusing to, she can't admit what the reality is, because then it's not, she's trying to justify her lifestyle. That's all that's going on here. Because we've all seen the data and the research that says that kids raised in a two-parent household bonded by marriage produce the most productive members of society. And the worst outcome for kids is single parents. Particularly, it's single moms. But the point is that you're not good by yourself. And I think that starting to perpetuate that I think that's a bad thing to do. Because again, you're just trying, especially because all she's doing is just trying to justify her lifestyle. Let's keep going.
I know I need a woman. A woman completes me.
But these men don't make you feel that way. From my experience, from my personal experience. But
there's a man out there. No, there's a man out there.
Off of what I
went through. And there's always going to be a man that's going to be worth that. And I think with you living in that, oh, no man is like that, that's all it's going to be in your atmosphere. When you start breathing in, oh, I'm going to find me a good horse, a good one, you get what I'm saying? Then that good one going to knock on your door.
It's like, you know how many episodes we had with women where we hear the logic of women, and that could turn me off completely to the point where I'll be like, you know what, I'm good. Mm-hmm. But I know that there's a quality woman out there for me. I'm successful on my own. I've done all this on my own. You get what I'm saying? So I value family. I value a woman, a black woman specifically. I would never fix my lips to ever say I don't need a woman, because I know I need a woman. And I'm not saying I need her like, oh, my life depends on it. Right. But I know I value family. I know how much a family means to me and the black community. I would never fix my lips. I don't care how money would never make me that happy over. That's just me personally. Yeah, but again, when we ask our women, our counterparts, they would gladly choose the money over a nuclear family.
And can I ask you something?
I don't care why.
And can I ask you something?
I want to know why, bro.
Like,
I want to know
why.
Why?
You got to. Because it's just like, y'all want us to respect how y'all feel, but y'all got to listen to what we're saying, too, so you could try to gain an understanding. It's just this generation of people. It's kind of hard to find love in this type of generation, even with my situation right now. Like, it's a little.
See, and can I piggyback off what she just said?
I can only go off of what.
Yes, and can I piggyback off what you just said?
It is 100%. I can agree with you on that. I have a lot of. I'm not gonna act like I'm perfect. I'm flawed in a lot of ways. Everybody is flawed in a lot of ways. There's things I gotta work on with myself, and that's not an issue. You get what I'm saying? But it's just men expect you to work with their flaws, but a lot of men is not willing to accept certain flaws when it comes to you. So that's the only reason why I can say, honestly speaking, I'd rather be single and rich, because if somebody's not going to be able to like work with me through my stuff, and
lack of trust. Again, the money is more valuable than the man. What if she's raising a son? What does that tell? What is that teaching him ultimately? So you got to be careful about this stuff. That's why I say the way we raise our kids, we need to do a better job of that, and stop trying to raise them to be soldiers in the gender war. Because that's all this is right now. This is exactly what that is. Neither one of them has a lot of trust for the opposite gender. And don't get me wrong, because this affects the men in our community as well. It's like, all these women are hoes and everything else, and it's like, okay, at some point, we just need to do a better job of raising our kids. Let's go.
I could work with you through yours. I'm not saying, oh, you're entitled or you have to, but just to at least have that person that's gonna do that, then it's fine. You get what I'm saying? Like, but otherwise, I can't.
I feel like
get with that. Like, I'd rather be single and rich. Respectfully, it's too stressful to be in the relationships nowadays.
So
everybody want to hold their own standard, their own thing, and me, I'm just not with that. Like,
don't you think that if you worked on your flaws and bettered yourself, that you would have better options though? Like,
I mean, but that's what I'm doing. You feel me?
Right. So right now you dealing
with
with people.
Like that.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say, y'all. Like,
right now.
I just feel like everybody here is saying their opinions on the situation right now, right? And everything is opinionated. So, being that that's her opinion, that's just her opinion right now, currently. And it goes by your situation. Like, if you're currently going through something, you're gonna have an opinion based on your situation, your current trauma, or what you're currently going through. Just like you said, you value family. Something might occur, God forbid, later on or anything, and you might be like, nah, fuck a family. I don't want no family. I'm good on family and this, that. But like, no, but some people are like that, even if it's not true, but people go off of what they're going through in a current situation. So that's her opinion right now because, like she said, that's her situation. I'm sure if a year later she's in a relationship and she's happy or whatever, her opinion gonna change. She gonna be like,
it's just make me a believer.
I just want to have
me a believer. That's all.
Y'all ever had a conversation with a man and he told y'all he don't need a woman?
I have.
You have? What about you?
No.
How frequent do you hear men utter those words? You don't. But
I hear men say they don't need nobody.
That's what I'm saying. I hear them say that all the time.
I hear them say they don't need nobody, not a woman.
We saying we don't need nobody like as a phrase, but we know we need a woman.
Right.
Women, I would say 90% of women say they don't need a man.
But y'all actions show different sometimes too. Like y'all might say y'all need a woman, but y'all actions don't show it. So it's just like, how do you expect it?
We just don't need you as a woman. There's a other woman out. Like a lot of women get confused and think like, oh well, he don't know. You crazy. Just not that woman for him. Like,
but
you
then
get what I'm
communicate that. Then don't drag it out. You get what I'm saying? Like that's the problem too. Men don't communicate certain shit. They just drag it out. If I'm not the woman for you, then let me know that so that we can separate ourselves. Because maybe right now is not our time. Maybe I gotta work on certain things with myself. And if I work on those things and we come together. And it's better at that time, then it's just better at that time.
Now, this is a prime example why you guys should check out my series, Is She Marriageable? Because during that series, during that show, I discussed that issue that she's talking about right now, the issue of compatibility. Just go check out one of the videos. You'll instantly get the idea of what's going on there. I don't want to get too much into it because that's what that series is about.
But you just said that your actions say different, so which means you've seen the actions that's telling you different and you ignoring them.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so you gotta
all been through.
You gotta focus on yourself. Know what I mean? You see what he telling you. He might be telling you something, but you see the actions, and you gotta make that decision for yourself. Know what I mean? You can't be just
holding on.
Yeah.
We don't have women on the show talking about a nigga told me he didn't want a relationship, but I still kept fucking him, and I caught feelings. And it's like, yo, he told you in the beginning that he did not want a relationship, and you still decided, and then now you want to be mad at the men and be like, men don't communicate.
That's a once in a lifetime thing because men do not be communicating, and men. As women, you have to cut it short. No, as women, you have to cut it short. Because if you don't, men will prolong.
All right, look, I'm even go with y'all logic, right? A lot of men don't communicate. Yeah. Then you should cut the motherfucker off.
Yeah, and I agree.
You're wasting your motherfucking time trying to figure somebody out that's not expressing that he's dating with a purpose with you. Because all that is him stringing you along, still trying to get more pussy.
Yeah, the question is that why would you have sex with a man who has not made his intentions known? You see, I agree with them that men don't communicate, but it's really not men. It's really we don't communicate, because what they're saying is that they're not communicating what they want. So they're just kind of going with the flow, and then you end up having sex with this guy a couple of times at that, right? And then you coming back and saying, well, what are we? You should have communicated that before you even laid down with the man. If what you're looking for is commitment, then that should be known before you have sex with him. Because otherwise, he's just looking at it like, okay, well, we just doing our thing, and that's it. And then the minute you come with, oh, yeah, well, what are we? He was like, oh, you know what this is. And all of a sudden now, you feel like you just got used. When reality is, you kind of played yourself. See, we got to get out of this and a lot of that stems again from the way This particular issue is about the vetting process. Because again, this woman right here in this beige shirt, she's obviously dealing with the trauma from a past relationship, right? So on this channel, I always ask, instead of asking more questions about the trauma and the relationship and all that stuff, we need to start asking, okay, well, who vetted that man for you? Who vetted him? And it's not to make her look stupid or to shame her or anything like that. This is a legitimate question because, again, if I'm dating this woman, I want to know who vetted these guys for you. Because ultimately, what I'm looking for is, okay, who are the men in your family that you're okay with following their leadership as far as helping you find a potential mate? If you don't have anybody that you trust like that, okay, but I'm marriage minded, I'm looking for a wife. If you don't have a guy like that in your family, brother, cousin, I mean, preferably you want a father who is marriage minded as well, but a father will do as well. If you don't have a guy like that, you've known the men in your family almost your whole life, and you don't trust their leadership, if that's the case, how are you going to trust me? How are you going to follow my leadership? You see, it's not even about the fact that you went through all this stuff. I mean, because sometimes stuff happens, right? Are there triggers that can give you heads up? Yeah, but sometimes people just get caught up. The main question is, okay, what was your line of defense to filter out those guys? Because this woman, it sounds like she's been through multiple bad situations. The question was, okay, where were the men in your family and why were they not protecting you? See, and if you don't have a relationship to where you trust them to protect you, again, how are you going to work with me in cooperation? That's just again, marriage-minded men. This is a great question for you to ask when women start talking about this stuff, about bad experiences. Okay, well, who vetted that man for you? So I don't put the earnest. I don't blame the women. Well, you should have picked better. But she's not supposed to be picking better. Where is the men? Where is the father figure that's supposed to be helping her? See, again, I'm gonna put the blame on the men in her family. Well, the blame is for the men in her family as far as the vetting process goes. But ultimately, she gets some accountability too, because are you a soldier in the gender war? Were you raised not to trust even the men in your family? But now you want to trust a man in a marriage? How? How is that supposed to work? So, gentlemen, you need to do a better job of vetting the women that you're looking as a potential wife. But more on that later. Let's keep going.
Yep.
And you're gonna give it up. And you're gonna give it up.
I agree. And there are men that do that all the time. They prolong it.
If he ain't giving you no answer, that is the answer.
And I just want to say that as women get more successful, their options drop. You know what I mean, as men get successful, their options go up. So you want to be rich and single, you might be single longer than you think. I ain't gonna lie to you.
And then you're gonna be older, so now I'm gonna go to the market and look for.
You probably get some niggas to fuck you, but you ain't gonna be happy.
Even though if your logic, what you said, you waiting for 0.5% of men.
No, but I'm not waiting for nothing. I just said you asked me if the. But I'm saying
if you was rich, you said you would be waiting for that 0.5% of men.
Yeah,
that's a
0.5. He got all the options.
It's a wait is a stretch. I wouldn't wait, but if it comes, then it comes. It's
so honestly, if you wouldn't wait, then what will happen?
Huh?
You date somebody under you?
You just be single and rich and living your life.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like you could live your life. Like people paint this image of like you have to be in a relationship and you have to be married and you have to be. You don't have to be anything. You came into this world alone. You're gonna die alone.
Most people prefer.
If you decide to be rich and single, live your life. If you decide to be happily married, then you
swear
that's not my mindset.
And this is why there's no.
This
is why there's no nuclear family in the black community, because our women are so brainwashed to think that independence is better than interdependence.
That's not true. If you're a
no
person,
other ethnic group of women is thinking this way outside.
No, they are.
That's not true.
I think it's a generational thing. I think it is a generational thing. A lot of these women are saying it's crazy, retarded, stupid shit.
Do say that.
My thing is, if you don't have kids,
it's mostly black women.
if you don't have kids, though, you have no obligation. You do not have to force yourself into marriage. Now, if you have a kid or you're trying to build a family, that is different.
Forcing?
For somebody who has no
That's
kids,
man.
I have no kids.
But
again, who said anything about forcing? See, that's what I mean when I say the concept of marriage needs to be reworked, because she's looking at it as like you're forced to get married. You have to get. No, it's a preference. And most people are looking for a lifetime partner because they have, I mean, we already discussed the financial components, but the other thing is that your stress level actually goes down because when you look at, especially when you get later in life, these ladies are still young, but as you get older, like the dating pool doesn't get any better, right? So now you have to deal with things. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to get married, is because I only want to have to deal with one woman. I'm not out here trying to deal with multiple because, again, there's more. The more women you deal with, the more likely it is you're gonna have to put up with some BS. I just wanted one woman, and I know I just got to get it right one time. Let's the sooner we start that process, the better, because then I have someone that's willing to build with me, and we can go on and start building something, building a legacy. The sooner you start building a legacy, the better.
That's backwards. You shouldn't be having a kid and trying to build yourself into marriage. You
No,
should get married and
not
have
like
kids.
that. But I'm just
I mean,
saying,
but
like,
things
to
happen
care
too.
about
I
marriage,
mean, yeah.
like, you know, if you do, a lot of people have a kid without the marriage. So if
Yeah.
you're going towards a marriage, if you have a kid, you're more likely to want that marriage.
But that's the detriment to our community, like he's saying. I mean, women having kids before they get married, and now they're not
Yeah.
getting married because
And that's crazy
you
to
already
me.
you already gave up the womb,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
crazy to me.
should be a privilege of marriage.
Yes.
True.
You definitely right. I agree because
You're
I
100% right.
definitely agree to that. And that's what I'm saying. I have no kids.
Mm.
If I was to be rich and single today, I would be rich and single and living my life. And
Mm.
whatever comes.
And remember, she has a boyfriend. Y'all think they still together after this aired?
It comes. If
How
you
you-
don't,
how your man
you
feel
don't.
about that? I want to know how you feel about that.
Thank you.
Listen,
Call
I'm
Call
always,
up the show.
I'm always
You
gonna be
said call
passionate
up?
about
Call
this
up?
subject because
Call that nigga. Yeah, call that nigga. Like,
because I
Like,
care
how
so
you
much
feel
about the
about-
black nuclear family, and then when I
But
hear
what you
these
what
conversations,
I don't
you
know, I feel
saying
like
that
my
you
man would marry
gotta
me, though,
stop
but-
just saying it's black women because
It
it's a lot.
is.
It's
Stop
not,
bailing
bro.
them out.
I'm not
It
bailing them
is.
out. If it's wrong, it's wrong. What I'm saying, it's not just black women.
so you heard
Right.
Asian women say,
I'm not looking at Asian women,
we
so
speaking,
that's why. Look,
bro.
Come
You
on,
doing with the
bro.
women? We
Come on,
speaking
bro.
on majority
Come
of.
on, bro.
We speaking on
no,
majority,
what I'm
bro.
saying is a lot, but he's saying it's only
It's
coming
the
from.
majority of
No,
the
he said,
majority.
but he
It's
also
not.
said it's only coming from my woman.
And it's
That's
not.
what
the
he
majority,
said.
yes.
No,
I'm not hearing
it's
Asian
not.
women
He
saying
said
that. I'm not
that.
hearing
He said that
Hispanic
at
women
first and
saying
then
that.
he
No,
changed
I'm
it.
not
bro,
hearing
you said
Indian
only
women
my
saying
woman,
that.
bro. You're
But
not gonna.
you know he's speaking on.
Okay, so because they're just going back and forth, right? And it's a nuanced argument. They're arguing over semantics. The point is that ultimately the point is that what do the marriage rates say? The Asian community's marriage rates is above. It's right at about 60%. Caucasians is about 50. Hispanics is about 46. And then black people, we're at about 29. So, I mean, yeah, there are women in other communities that say that. But again, what do the marriage rates say? Is one of the reasons why the marriage rates is what they are. Is one of the reasons why our sons are at the bottom. We just got to do better.
Majority,
And what
bro.
I'm saying is, and I'm gonna hold him accountable, bro. You gotta respect some of the good women that we have that's here. That's not saying that,
Yeah.
and there's a whole bunch of white women, Asian women, all these other
You just
women.
said you don't know about those
I
other
said-
women.
No,
I asked you, do
I've
you
seen them on Instagram. I
you
do
hear-
not
you
know
hear
them. They
Asian
haven't been
women
on the
say
show.
that?
I've seen it on Instagram. Yes, I did, bro.
There's a bunch of
I've seen it.
there
I've
are
seen
a
clips.
bunch
That's
of
on Instagram that do be talking like
I've
that.
seen them.
He
I've seen them
doesn't
clips,
personally
bro.
know
What
them.
are
We
you
don't
talking
all
about?
personally know them, but there are women
And
that are
then-
of different
Yes.
races.
I'm not
that do
saying it's the
talk like that.
majority.
Women is
Okay.
women.
I'm not
How
saying
you
it's
feel
the
is how you
majority.
feel.
Yeah.
And race has nothing to do
Do
with how
it,
you
yeah.
feel.
It
Nah.
does,
No,
bro.
it
I'm
does
not.
not.
Listen, what I'm
You
not.
speak to majority black women, so that's where your
and
opinion is
that's
coming
all I
from.
hear. But I don't hear. You know why? Because you know how I could tell? Because the marriage rates in these other women are significantly higher than in the black community.
True.
So
Because
don't
they're
come to me
going-
talking about
they're
these other
going-
women is
Absolutely.
saying this
They're
because
going
they're
with
still
people.
getting married at the end of the day. These
Okay.
feminists, these white feminists
Okay.
that black women are want to march for,
Yes.
they're the ones that's still getting married, even though they're preaching to black women, hey, you don't need a man. They're going home to their husbands.
And
And
for
this is how I
example-
know. This is how I know
Respectfully.
black women have been finessed with feminism because the feminists are married to their white husbands, while black women think they don't need a husband.
True.
So that's what I'm talking about.
No, you're
And then
right.
some-
I'm looking at the
I agree with that
marriage rates.
100%.
I
I
don't
can
care
give you
about
that.
anything
Yeah.
else.
I can
That's
give
not the
you
part
that.
I'm arguing.
I can
I'm
give
just
him that.
saying you can't paint all black women in
I'm
that
not
way.
saying.
You
Yeah.
I'm
did
not
say
saying
all, bro.
No,
You
I
did-
said the most.
you
I
said
said
all.
most
You
of
gotta
the
go
black
back to
women.
this clip and
As
you
soon
said
as
all.
he say all,
I gotta
and
look
then
at the
he
clip,
changes it to
bro.
Yeah, you
majority.
said all.
He did, but he cleaned it up because he realized he made a mistake. But let's keep going.
I don't think he said all, but
I didn't say all, bro.
But I know he's speaking on majority.
The majority.
I
That's
agree.
what I'm talking about.
But he also saying, have you ever heard an Asian or a white woman say some of this crazy shit? And I know we've seen it on social media.
I have not seen it.
You've never seen it?
I'm not going to lie here and say I've seen it.
Honestly,
have you seen
there
it in bulk?
there are other races.
No, it went from have you seen it to have you seen it in bulk.
Yeah, and when I first asked you, you said I don't listen. I don't know. I don't know Asian women.
I don't know them, but I've seen it on
how you
Instagram.
capping?
Yes. I'm not capping.
He's
I've
saying
seen
he
it.
doesn't personally know them as people
that's
around him, but he's seen it.
Seen
Like
it.
those
Yeah.
social
We
media
all
takes
seen
one
women say
scroll
crazy
and a video
shit.
pops up, and then
Okay. They're still in the same argument. It hasn't gone anywhere. I think we've heard enough. The point here is that we have to start recognizing the soldiers in the gender war, men and women, right? And move accordingly. Now, I'm not saying that these people are the scum of the earth and you should just avoid them at all costs. Again, relationships are about balance. You know, whether you end up marrying a soldier in the gender war, it's totally up to you. Because again, this person's value, they may have value in other things that they may bring other benefits that you are requiring to have a successful marriage. See, you just have to figure out if it's going to be worth it or not. I think at the end of the day, that's probably the biggest thing here. Now, I didn't forget women who are high earners. What should you do, right? Even though this represents a small percentage of women, and let's see if we can bring this up because new window, yeah. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, I am in the state of Georgia, and average income in Georgia for women. Yeah. 25,000 as according to 2020. It's probably went up, but not by much, right? This is the median income in the state of Georgia for women. So for you women who are earning, significantly more than that, and there's just not a lot of men going around because the average income for men is 37, right? So what do you do if you're a woman who is making more than that? Well, what you should be doing is, number one, is that you should have somebody, an older male in your family, more specifically the patriarchy. They should be helping you vet guys. And what are they vetting for? Well, at that point, what you're looking for is men who are leading with the dime. Self-discipline, integrity, morals, and ethics. Okay? A lot of times, because the reason I say those four things is because it's an acronym. It's easy to remember, right? But the other thing is that a lot of times how should I put this? Gentlemen, when you lead with the dime, your woman is less concerned about you making more money than her. That doesn't mean you can't work. I mean, it's just, come on now. You have to be working a full-time income. You need that. But a woman who makes more than you, she still wants to be hypergamous. She still wants to look up to you. So what you're doing is that you're going to give her 4 categories that you're going to outrank her in. So that way her hypergamous nature still gets fulfilled. Now, if you're a woman who is doing that, then that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a guy who can lead you in those 4 categories. And you guys will figure out the financial component. I mean, but as long as the way you can judge a man in those 4 categories, it's hard for women to do that. But again, this is why you need someone, that male family member, who can help you do that. Yeah. But this has been an interesting conversation. Like I said, these relationship talks usually boil down to 4 topics. Again, those are the way we raise our kids, the vetting process, a concept of marriage, and finances. Those are the 4 topics. Almost all these relationship topics and podcasts and everything else, they usually break down to just those 4 topics. But this has been a good example. We covered multiple social constructs today. Out of that 4, we got into almost all of them, I think, if not, right? But definitely high-level conversation. Go check out Daily Wrap-Up Crew. And guys, remember, membership is open. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'm going to go to the next time. Peace.